Hello everyone, welcome to Talking Health with Dr. Laz, your favorite health program on television, reaching you from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. My name is Dr. Laz Eze. Yes, it's June, we are in the mid-year, and so many things have happened in the health sector in the past 6 months. But one pleasant development that happened in the past couple of weeks was the presidential assent to the National Health Insurance Authority Act 2022. Recall that NHIS Act was enacted in 1999. It was actually a military decree that was made an act of parliament, and National Health Insurance Scheme established about 4 years later, and of course actually in 2005, and it has struggled to meet the health insurance needs of Nigerians, especially vulnerable persons, persons with disability, and so many other, even the formal sector persons who are enrolled in the National Health Insurance Scheme have a whole lot of complaints about their inability to be able to access quality and affordable health care despite their enrollment in the scheme. So it's hoped that this will be a game changer, because Section 14 of the new law provides for mandatory health insurance for all Nigerians. Of course, health financing experts have said that with mandatory insurance, it ensures that you have many more persons who are covered. Over 200 million Nigerians by that are expected to be covered, and that will be a larger pool of funds. Also, Section 25 of the Act provided for the establishment of the Vulnerable Group Fund. In fact, 25 to 30 of this new Act provides for the management and how the fund will come about, even some level of charges on telecommunication calls, that is meant to fund, the Vulnerable Group Fund. So I do expect, and like so many other health professionals who are excited about this development, that this is good as we work towards universal health coverage by the year 2030. Yes, it's such a very good development we couldn't miss. But also in the past few weeks, like in May, the Nigerian Medical Association had their Congress and elected a new president in the person of Dr. Uche Ujima. It's hoped that the new administration in NMA will work collaboratively with other healthcare professional associations, the federal and state ministries of health, as well as other stakeholders, to ensure that our health sector improves much better than it is. Today on the program, we'll be discussing a topic, a disease that is associated with the liver. Second Thursday of June every year is usually commemorated worldwide as the International Nonalcoholic Steatohepatitis Day. Nonalcoholic Steatohepatitis is usually called Nash, N-A-S-H. And it could also be called Nonalcoholic Fatty Liver Disease, or in some cases, hepatic steatosis. So, and on 9th of June, it was commemorated here in Nigeria. Non-governmental organizations, Talk Health Nigeria, actually partnered with Lafia World Initiative to have a Twitter space conversation around this health condition, which usually is identified incidentally when you are even having radiological investigations for other health conditions. So I have a consultant radiologist who is going to be joining me after the break, so that we could break it down, try to make you know that what the risk factors are, how you identify it, and what can be done to ensure that the liver doesn't get to fail in its functions in the body because of these fatty deposits that could occur due to a number of health conditions. We are going to take a break, and we can't wait to meet my guest. Do stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Talking Health with Dr. Laz, your favorite health program on television. Yes, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. It might interest you to know that a common cause of fatty liver disease is actually alcohol abuse or alcoholism or excessive alcohol consumption. But you also have conditions that could lead to fatty liver disease that are not associated with alcohol. And that's where Nash comes in. Global Liver Institute and so many partners around the world ensure that awareness is being created on an annual basis around this health condition, and also to ensure that many more lives are saved. And researchers show that 25% of people worldwide, have fat deposits in their liver. How much of that do we find in Nigeria? I'm unable to find reliable data specific to Nigeria as per the incidence or the prevalence in particular of this health condition. But let me introduce my guest, Dr. Dave Okorafor. Dr. Dave Okorafor is a consultant radiologist at the Alex Ekweme Federal University Teaching Hospital, Abakaliki, Southeast Nigeria. He's also the proprietor and tutor, Roadside Medical Education. It's an online platform for medical education, for a lot of persons who are signed on to it. You're welcome to the program, Dr. Dave. He's joining us virtually. Hello, Dr. Dave. You're welcome. If you can hear me, Dr. David Okorafor, I would like you to talk about your experience as a radiologist as it has to do with identification of persons who are having fatty liver disease that is not associated with alcohol consumption. Okay, we have a technical challenge there. We're going to get Dr. Dave back as quickly as possible. There are a number of health conditions that predispose one to having non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, otherwise known as Nash. And of course, those are conditions that are associated with high lipids or high cholesterol in the body. For instance, diabetes mellitus type 2 is a health condition associated with inadequate insulin or non-use of insulin in the body. And insulin is involved in the breakdown of fats or fatty acids in the body to other uses the body need them. And when it's not available, you have accumulation of lipids or fats in the bloodstream. Also, for those with obesity, those with high blood pressure, and also those with high cholesterol level, either due to their dietary habits, are highly disposed to having fatty liver disease that is not associated with alcohol. So in these situations, you have fat deposits within the liver, and if nothing is done about it, over a certain period of time, it can actually alter or adversely affect the functions of the liver. And it may even lead to liver failure, liver cirrhosis, and end-stage liver disease that is not usually a desirable condition for anyone to find oneself. And that's essentially why we're creating this awareness. Let's check if we could get Dr. Dave back online. Hello, Dr. Dave, if you can hear me. Okay, sorry about those interruptions. We have technical issues. I'm supposed to have Dr. David Okorafor join me via Zoom, but the technical team have tried to fix that. It appears not to be working. So we're going to continue talking about non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. So I'm just essentially going to have a monologue. Of course, I believe that you're watching, and you can also engage us on our various social media platforms. So I've talked about the risk factors for non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, which includes obesity, type 2 diabetes mellitus, high blood pressure, high blood lipid level, or high blood cholesterol, as you may want to put it. I was discussing before this show with Dr. David Okorafa about his experience as a radiologist, and he told me that on daily basis, he finds cases of non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, which is fat deposits within the liver. Of course, that's not the reason why those patients go for those investigations or for those ultrasound checks. They might go for other reasons and they are asked to do abdominal ultrasound. And of course, when you are doing an abdominal ultrasound, all the organs in the abdomen are checked, so you look at the stomach, you look at the liver, look at the gallbladder, the kidneys, the the bladder itself, the intestines, and all of that. So for women, you may even, if it's obstetric ultrasound, you even have to look at the uterus, the state of the uterus, and all of that. So a lot of persons may go for radiology investigation, either ultrasound or even abdominal magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, and could find deposits of fats within the liver, and they may not be alcoholics. So in that situation, what do you do when you find fat deposits within the liver? That's a huge question. I believe that could be going through your mind. If you find it, what am I going to do? Yes, what are you going to do if you find fat deposits in the liver through these investigations? Number one is to see your doctor again, that, okay, yes, these are the findings. What are the next steps? They have to find out what is responsible. It might be that the person is diabetic without even knowing that he or she is diabetic. So you may possibly have abdominal pain or any other symptom and ask to do ultrasound. And ultrasound says, oh, there are some deposits of fat within the liver. So from there, it might ask you to do fasting blood sugar. It might ask you to do, check fasting lipid profile, and also even liver function tests, as well as other investigations. And when those are done, for those who might even be diabetic without knowing about it, it could just be a point to even diagnose the diabetes, because if you are diabetic and you don't know, perhaps the first time you might get to know is when you have any of the complications of diabetes mellitus, which could be hyperosmolar non-ketotic disease, or DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis. So it's not a situation you want to go into. And if that is the case, if someone that is obese, of course, obesity is when you have the body mass index that is 30 and above. And how do you calculate body mass index? You can easily do that even by yourself. And you could look out for that on the screen, the formula for calculating body mass index. You check your weight in kilogram, assuming your weight is 80 kg. And you also measure your height in meters. So to calculate body mass index is weight over height squared. So if your height is, say for instance, 1.8 meters, and your weight is 80 kg, so your body mass index will be 80 over 1.8 squared. So when you do the mathematics, you know what it is. And if it's 25 to 29, you know that you're overweight. You have to check for your nutrition, how you eat, the quantity of what you eat, the time that you eat, and also the combination of what you eat as well. So some weeks ago on this program, I had conversation with a public health physician, and we went to town talking about these general wellness habits. You may look out for that on our YouTube channel. It's there. You watch it fully for the various health tips. And you can also talk to dietitians or health, nutritionists on what is best for you. What might be good for A might not be very good for B. You could have Mr. A or Mrs. B that is eating apple, very heavy meal at night, or fufu and all of that. before going to bed, and they might not get obese, even though that's not the best meal to take late in the night. But you could have someone else who will do that and begin to get loss of weight. So general well-being is important. It's like I'm, I'm deviating from Nash, but some of these things are interconnected. So if you're obese, physical activity, you have to increase that. It's general advisory for everybody that could keep healthy. Another thing is, how do you diagnose Nash? I've mentioned it along the line, but I'll be talking more about it after this break. Do stay with us. I'll be back soon. Welcome back to Talking Health with Dr. Laz, your favorite health program on television. Yes, I'll be talking about non-alcoholic steatohepatitis because June 9, 2022 was the International Nash Day. I was supposed to have this conversation with a consultant radiologist, but we had technical issues, so I'm essentially having a monologue, and I hope you are still following the monologue on non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. Nash is a form of liver disease, and fatty liver disease is commonly caused by excessive alcohol consumption. So, but in this case, you also have non-alcoholic causes of fatty liver disease. So you might call it Nash, which is non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. It might be called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It may also be called hepatic steatosis, medical languages. So, but how do you diagnose it? That's the question I asked before the break. You could diagnose Nash first, starting from history. In diagnosing any health condition, you give history. Okay, for those that are symptomatic, it's important for you to know that it may be asymptomatic or symptomatic. Asymptomatic means you could have fat deposits in your liver and you're not having any problem at all. And it's actually very common, like the radiologist to confirm that many patients present for abdominal ultrasound or MRI of the abdomen, and they will incidentally find some fat deposits in the liver. So that's asymptomatic. But for those who are symptomatic, they will have the features of liver disease. One of the common ones is fatigue, general body weakness, and tiredness. Tiredness that continues even after resting. So not the kind of tiredness that when you work so hard, you get tired. So even after resting, someone is still tired. And the person will not feel like eating, there could be anorexia, and you may also have some pigmentation of the eyes, yellowness of the eyes, jaundice, and all of that. You could have abdominal swelling if he has got to the point of having hepatitis, the liver getting to swell up. And if it progresses, you could even have swellings of the leg and all of that. So, and abdominal pain when the parenchyma of the liver is being stretched, so you could have abdominal pain, especially the lower part, the right lower part of the abdomen where you have the liver, just below the diaphragm. So you could have pains there. And if this continues and nothing happens to it, you could get to the extent that you have liver failure. It will continue to expand and displace the normal liver tissues and adversely affect the normal functions of the liver. And in that situation, it could even lead to liver cirrhosis, which is end-stage liver disease. And in that situation, even the control of chemicals and metabolic substances in the body and every other function of the liver is packed up, and it's not a very good situation to be in. And that's why we're creating this awareness. So with any of that, there will be physical examination, that may show hepatomegaly or bigger liver or liver enlargement. From there, the doctor or the physician could ask you to go for abdominal ultrasound to check the liver. And if that confirms that, of course, other forms of management will be involved. It could involve multidisciplinary team. You could have a dietitian or a nutritionist who will, manage the nutrition aspect, recommending the kind of food you'll be eating. If you go to International Nash Day website, if you have access to the internet, you will be able to download materials that detailed some of these things. And also, physical activity is strongly advised, and physical activity could be 30 to 60 minutes walk. You don't need to run. You don't need to go to the gym if you can afford it. Just regular taking a walk in the morning, in the evening, or, especially those who do the kind of job that they sit for a very long time. It also includes presenters, who could be on TV or on radio, sitting in one location for a very long time. You need a bit of those physical activities, and also reducing the time you spend on the screen. And that could be both a TV screen, even telephone, So because for every time you are spending on the screen, you're not having sufficient time to move around, because of course you can't be watching TV and be moving and all of that. So non-alcoholic steatohepatitis is what it is, and MRI can also show that. MRI is not every health hospital in Nigeria that you can get MRI. There are just few of them, or diagnostic centers, and it's also expensive. But ultrasound is largely affordable, and with the new Health Insurance Authority Act, we are hoping that at least by the year 2030, all Nigerians, no matter their location, no matter their level, would have health insurance that will make it possible for them to access any investigation, any test, or any procedure, without experiencing financial difficulty. And I talked about the health insurance law at the beginning of this show. Okay, so I believe you must have learned one or two things today concerning non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. Before I end, I would like to remind you that Make Our Hospital Work campaign was formally launched by Nigerians who came together, over 300 Nigerians actually, on 15 June 2020. So by 15 June 2022 will be 2 years, and it's an initiative of Talk Health Niger, and is made up of Nigerian volunteers, over 1,000 of them, who have signed up to take actions within their communities to make sure that their health centers, their health facilities, their hospitals are working optimally. So if you've not joined, you could check out makeourhospitalwork.org and sign up, and you'll be able to have access to materials and the protocols that will enable you to take step by step. So Talk Health Niger and the Make Our Hospital Work campaign has been championing this across the country, and by next week we'll be showing you some of the efforts that Nigerians have done in their various locations, and also various communities that are beginning to take more ownership and interventions related to their health conditions. I know you can't wait to see that. So happy second anniversary Make Our Hospital Work campaign. I'm privileged to be leading that campaign in the country, and we can't wait to have more persons sign up, because it's our collective responsibilities to make our hospital work. Thank you for watching today's program. We'll see you same station, same time next week. My name is Dr. Lars Eze. Bye for now.